hopefully. There we go. What? Either cream. A little tired today, but we'll manage. Huh. Ah, it's almost daytime. Okay. You're sleep deprived. Nag-iba ka ng outfit. No, it's still the same. My scarf just got a little roughed up, but it's still the same. No, I don't think I'll watch that. Hey, I started my live like 4 minutes ago. Hello. How's furality? Tiring. I've been in VR for close to 11 hours. That's... yeah. Yeah, I hope your stream went well. This is my cooling down. I'll probably stream for 1 or 2 hours. Oh, I can move it around, huh? Ah, congratulations, Wolf. I'm glad it went well. Thanks, Clay. Morality has been... the first day has been slow. Tomorrow's probably the main event for me because that's where most of the schedules that I want to attend is gonna be. The TikTok creators meetup, the Nova Beast meetup. But yeah, today has just been talking. I honestly did not notice the 11 hours going by. It's a good thing I didn't stream. Also, the performance was rather terrible. Low FPS. Is it AI? No. No. Hello, Axiom. I've decided to take a break from the happenings over at Furality. More or less. It's good, but maybe I was expecting something grander. But then again, they have not revealed all their tricks and presentations. I believe they're going to start slow. What do you mean, Yuan? Look like what? Furality was. It was okay. Um, I've yet to see anything that will actually blow me away. Oh, wow. The King of Demons is sending coins. Thanks.
Dead.
Yes. What is it, action? What do you think of the new generation of our world? They need to spend less time on their devices and more touching grass. A night beast. Okay. Enjoy. These devices? What devices, Wo? No, I'm not Mexican. Ah, these devices. I'm a little slow, sorry. That's true. Ironic, isn't it? But unlike the generation nowadays, I actually grew up without internet. Without my own computer. I would run outside and look for old tires I could play with. I would dip my knees into fish ponds and try and chase the fish. There's no need for chat to be fast, if that's what you mean. Oh boy. I have around 2 hours of energy to spare, so yeah. Jordan, I was referring to my childhood, where I didn't have internet or my own computer back then. The most I had was a PlayStation 1 and a couple of games. What's it like to grow up without internet? Your pastime would be to memorize the phones of your friends and call them on their landlines. You would go, "Hi, can I speak to X? Oh, he's eating? I'll call back in 5 minutes. Okay, okay. Thank you, Mrs. X. Alright. And I call back. We'd talk about what we'd see in the TV and the little things. You know. Hello, Maki. Yes, I am Filipino. At least you got your answer. So, Sammy Wolf, Julius, the real Wolf 64. Who else? Yes. Yeah, there's the real Wolf 64 on Twitch. There's a bunch of wolves here on TikTok. It's getting a little tricky addressing which is which. Hello, Shanghai. I'm sorry if I'm a little soft spoken today. It's my throat's kind of tired from talking to people the whole day. Hmm. Thanks. Congratulations on being a German Shepherd. I hope that works well for you. Thank you, Megane. Maybe. My energy levels are a little too low for that action. Though we will watch again soon, don't worry. You seem to be worming closer and closer to personal questions, Shimmery. Julian, can you do me a favor and not ask questions with or have requests that make no sense for 40 minutes? Hello, Korgs. Oh yeah, that should keep me awake. How could I forget? Thanks. Welcome to the stream, guys. Not much happening here. I just wanted to say hello to everyone. Well, that's gonna get you muted. Unfortunately. Where am I? Another place of rest. Away from the chaos of the desert town. Way too many people earlier. Wonderful people, but still too many. Yes. What's my favorite VR chat world to go to? Probably. It's gotta be furality lo aqua. Hi there, Snow. Good day. I'm taking a break from, well, furality. I've been talking to people for around 10 to 11 hours straight. My voice does sound a bit worn if your ears are sharp enough to pick it up. A night beast, to my eyes, seems to be like a more elderly Nova beast. More musculature, more defined facial features, And if I remember correctly, they have 4 ears instead of 2. I don't know why. Is your eyes not tired? Surprisingly not. Hi there, Long. I believe I caught you for a moment over at Club Finn before I dipped out. It was nice to finally meet you earlier. And to hear you speak in English. I've been online since, well, what time is it? It's 3:15 p.m. I was in VR chat since around 4 a.m. or earlier. I had to do a bit of Unity work. I still have a bunch to fix, like the normal maps on my scarf. Same here, Long. I'm really not much of a club rat. I went there, sat on top of the tower, you know, the red one, and left after an hour. Tiring. Good luck with retexturing the Night Beast. You probably have to go into Blender if you want to get rid of the extra ears. Yeah, I kind of dove head first into furality. Now I'm feeling mildly burnt out. Unless there's a new map tomorrow, I am not sure I'm gonna be playing that long in Umbra itself. Hi there, Megumi. Oh, guy. You're not gonna. I was looking for you earlier, Tato. I was wondering which one you'd be in. I saw you starting XSO overlay and was thinking, hey, Tato's gonna hop in VR chat. But I did not see you in any of the instances. I'm looking forward to the meetups tomorrow, the one where us TikTok creators are gonna be. I was at the Twitch meetup earlier. I ended up not talking to anybody. Strange. Oh, I was at Umbra since like 4 a.m. until, well, like 30 minutes ago. I think I was there for 10 hours or so. Pretty okay, yeah. My favorite part would be the Umbra village before you go down, where it was nice and bright. At evening, we're gonna have the dealer's den. In how many hours is that long? I'm probably attend that. I'm okay, Flooper. A little tired. So I'm winding down. Oh. Oh dear. Probably gonna cook some dinner and then sleep. Eat after. I know it's a strange order to things. 12 hours from. Okay, that's manageable. I should be awake by then. I'm streaming at an unusual hour, so. Yeah. Most of the furries are busy with furality, and most of the ones here in Southeast Asia are either busy with school or at work, given that it's 3:20 p.m. I'm surprised there's even a bunch of viewers. Gandang hapon, Jazz. Pasensya na, medyo pagod na boses ko. Medyo paus na tayo. I know, it spiked to 70, which was bizarre. Probably a surge of PH people. You're lagging bad in TikTok. TikTok chat, is this true? Am I lagging really bad? Or is it silky smooth? It should be. Alright, thanks. Hi there, D. Thank you for checking. Stay hydrated. Oh no, I actually ran out of drink. All I have is some Korean rice wine. That should work. Maybe a sip. When I say maybe a sip, probably the entire can or bottle. I was bending over to reach the drink from my fridge. My fridge is a smaller fridge, the one that's lower than waist height. So, ah. You know those refrigerators that you see in hotels? The one that comes pre-stocked with water and such. That's what I have. It's convenient because it's right next to my computer. Oh, right, here, so it looks right. Oh wow, that's so refreshing. Yep, it's a mini fridge. But it's not really a mini fridge because it has a freezer on top. So it's like a medium small fridge, if that makes sense. Oh, wow. Ah. Whew. Think of it as Sprite but with alcohol. And Yakult. Yeah, let's just call it the personal fridge. But yeah, I should be super duper silky smooth to you guys. I'm in a very undemanding instance. I just saw your alternative avatar design. That looks amazing. The one I put 4 weeks in? Thanks. I will probably go back to it at some point in time in the future. Sort of fills in the more cartoony niche. Vienna, I don't think I sound Korean at all. I mean, I am drinking Korean rice wine, but it doesn't mean I'm from Korea. The O? What do you mean the O? 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 British. Oh. What's the background image? It's not a background image, it's a room. See? There's a light source. See? The cube is emitting light. Excuse me. Is that back expressions? Oops. Right. Greetings. What brings you here to stream? Look at how wild the viewers fluctuate. Between 12 to 70, then down to 30 and 50, and now to 13. Hmm. Ah. Funny. Most of you are saying that my stream has no problems. And then there's one or two of you that are saying that the lag is bad. Perhaps it's your connection. If it was mine, then, well, everybody would be lagging. Thank you, Aussie Froggy. Speaking of Aussie, it's sad that I wasn't able to meet Mecca today. He's probably busy. Funny enough, my TikTok is saying 0 frame drops, and my encoder FPS is at 60. So it's not on my end. Baka sa side mo yung problema. Either naka-mobile data ka kaya ganun or pangit lang yung wifi mo. Thanks for the follow. Right. So it was your Wi-Fi. Happens to most of us. So internet here can be inconsistent. Can I say I love you in your real language? English is my real language. When was it ever false? You have any TikTok idols? Not really. I don't follow up with the trends of celebrities and whatnot. The only notable streamer I actually am entertained with would be Queso. Thank you, Dark Firewolf. I didn't know I had conditions in order to have followers, Zian. And here it is. My friend wants me to drink. Okay. I'm gonna drink more Macchioli. I'm drinking it on an empty tummy, so this is probably gonna end up making me a bit whooshy. Ay, shibal. Ah. There's nothing I can do about your internet, Vienna. Where am I traveling to next? I am taking my time here in Umbra. I will be here for 3 more days. Yeah, alam mo yun, Nika. Ay, shibal. It's, I don't know. I picked it up after hearing it from a Korean friend that was old. What PC VR do I use? The Quest Pro. Quiet, Nika. You come in furality. What do you mean? Also about my accent, I'm from the Philippines. If that helps with any. Yes, the Quest Pro indeed has eye tracking and face tracking. I'm not sure what Tony's Chocolates is, but I do know Tony's Chocolonely. It's probably my favorite brand of chocolate at the moment. You're gonna earn a special place in my heart if you buy me 1 or 2 of those. I'm simple that way. Yes, it is a place. Chocolate Hills. That's funny. Dark bait. Pretty sure I do. Also, thank you for the coins, Jonathan Drumright. Cool name. Thank you for giving me the cheese. Also, the Green Swarm has heard my pleas and is sending me some digital chocolate. If you want to send me real chocolate, I actually have a throne. A friend of mine suggested I make it, so it's there. In my throne, you can actually buy me the chocolates that I like. Oh, but you don't have to. I'm just saying, it's there. Do you draw? If you head to my Twitter, you can see a bunch of my doodles. I am practicing. The triangle chocolate thingy, that's Toblerone, I believe. Ah, and my other mod J is here. It's tiring, Jay. I was in furality for a good 11 hours. um, I did meet a bunch of creators though, avatar creators, and most of those who make the assets that I get from Gumroad. They're cool. Did I make any real connections today? Not really. Especially the Twitch one. When I went there, I was expecting handshakes and acquaintances to happen. No, no, no. Every streamer was out there pretty much for themselves. I did see some people talking in pairs or trios, but I was just at the corner with a buddy of mine for most of the time. Well, the Yamaha Nikon GT is one of the motorcycles I am saving up for. Why not? Yes, I did sneeze. It's the desert sand. Viana, no matter how much you rant about your internet and chat, there's nothing we can do to help you. Indeed, it does not have seatbelts. I'm not sure, Maddie. You tell me. The Gebos accent, as Jay says. Hello, what's your name? Celtrix? Yeah, Celtrix. Yep, what Paul the Savage said. That's indeed what makes them fun. Nothing beats having the wind in your hair, and the feeling of control of the machine between your legs. Spirit of adventure and all that. My fluff. Unlike the other Nova beasts, I do not sport a thick and spiky mane. I think it's cumbersome. What kind of motorcycle? One is the Yamaha Nikon GT. It's a three-wheeler with two wheels in the front. The second one is the Honda Africa Twin. Actually, Horn, a three-wheeled motorcycle is safer than a two-wheel one. Not only is the contact patch to the ground better, but the balance factor as well. Thank you, Wolfcast. Hi there, Judas. Zian, if you ask one more time, I cannot guarantee your safety from my mods. Sorry I have to bear with the ads axiom. Such is the nature of Twitch. Jay, I think you need to finish your chores first. Oh, you have a flight. Did the job application perhaps go swimmingly well? No, they are not my servants. They're my assassins. Silent, deadly, ruthless. I see. No. One of your VRs just blew up. Time to get a new one. Thank you, dear. You too. I wish you a good evening. New viewers in chat. Very chill stream here. And I'm very tired, actually. But not tired enough to fall asleep. You know how sometimes when you're really tired, you can't. If you try to lie down, you won't exactly drift into sleep instantly. Ah, wow. That's great. Hello, Furun. Say blip. Good night, crushy slushy. Cool name. It rhymes. It's so cold. A simple problem to solve with blankets or adequate heating. Ah, shibal. Whew. Wow. Okay. Where were we? Yeah, the state of being worn but not ready for rest. You know how it is, Jackie. You're not quite ready to melt into that pillow of yours in bed. Oh, don't worry, Tippy. I do sleep a lot despite my seemingly odd schedule. Thank you for the concern. Too warm. Axiom, if you're too warm at home, do what we Filipinos do. We take off our shirts. Have you been to furality? Oh, yes, I was. I was in the maps for around 10 hours straight, or more. Now I'm taking a break. Oh, excuse me. Thanks, Nathan. That's cool, Tippy. I appreciate it. And thank you for the rose. Anything you can rest your head on that's slightly elevated compared to your sleeping surface should be considered like a pillow. You're from Luzon. Yes, I am. How will that information help you? Is my graphics card's okay? It wasn't in the furality map. I was scrolling at around 25 to 30 FPS. Even with avatar culling enabled to no more than 10 meters out and no more than 10 avatars, it's still, yeah, really heavy. Well, if it isn't Gale, how are you? I don't even remember what you did, dog dude. But just behave in chat, okay? And you won't get into trouble. What internet do I use? It's PLDT. Tu habla español. Unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish. Wish I could. Oh, the TikTok chat. Correct. I keep on forgetting. Let me do that right now. Thanks, Gail. One of these days, I'm gonna repay you mods for being so nice to me and the service that you give. I know what you guys want. Maybe you'll get it. Thanks, Bramble. No, I'm not your dad. Jay, you don't need to be subservient. You're not a servant, you're an ally. Wow, Gail. I make you guys happy too. You're my own means. Probably involves food. Okay, Nathan, I'll try my best to remember. No promises though. Planning to make the live 18? No, only my Discord server. How was my day? Somewhat tiring. A little lackluster, honestly. I was expecting to be blown away, the same way I first experienced Furality Aqua. That was not the case. Thank you, Max. Mods, don't get mad. Remember what we talked about with all caps. Sometimes people just want to express their sincerity in a slightly louder voice. It's a case to case basis. I'm a bit tired. Good night, Horn. You rest well. Okay, dog dude. Remember what I said about behaving in chat? Talking about religion is one of the big no-nos. Ha. Ah, yes. The spammer. Okay. I see. Your car that got totaled. Oh, that's really bad, Gail. Don't tell me it's a Mercedes. Don't tell me it's the Benz. It can't be. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Sammy. Oh, okay. I thought it was the Benz. You got me worried there for a second. I'm sure a little duct tape and glue will bring it back to working shape. I'm just joking. You can tell me about it later in Discord call when you're free. I will hang out with you guys later. Yeah, yes, Jay Gale got total. Thanks, Wolfie. Nah, Gail's a tough cookie. She'll be fine. She can handle a lot of rough stuff knowing her. Ain't I right, Gail? Thank you, Lunox. You're strong. You should have no problem. Same. I too like calamansi, pancit canton. Hey, Doki, no need to apologize. We were all being tugged in all directions during forality. I understand. I'm just glad I was able to say hi to you. Besides, I didn't want to pull you away from your friend group. Perfectly understandable. No bad feelings here. If anything, I'm just, as I mentioned, glad to see you. Don't worry about anything. I hope you recharge your social battery or whatever else you feel drained in soon, Doki. Worst comes to worst, just holler over at Discord. We're here. I'm here. How I be a better being? Well, common sense. And be kind to your fellow person. Yeah, Doki, we're just there. I'm just a DM away. If I don't reply right away, it means I'm probably asleep. But I will reply the moment I wake up. Or at least the moment I can read messages in chat. Because the brain has to boot up for a few minutes. You know what I mean. Hmm? Your voice is so handsome. How did you do that? I'm not sure how to answer that question. It's the same as asking someone, how do you talk? I A combination of air manipulation, vocal cord control, and mouth movements, probably. Thanks for liking the goggles. I do like them a lot. Very useful during certain situations. What country are you? Unfortunately, Lunox, I am a person, not a country. Gaming top 53. I see. I see. If you can call rest gaming, then yes. Your streamer here is winding down after 10 hours of being in furality. Also, thank you for the follow, Horn. Hmm. Do you know what it means when someone says piloso po ka man? Yeah, you are taking like a sarcastic stance towards your replies and actions. To spite the person. You may need to lean back a bit. Have a more relaxed posture. This works. Much better. Very much Filipino. Thank you, Celestial Nova. Oh, are you a Nova Beast as well? I love how you use sparkles before and after the word aesthetic to give emphasis. Ah, Nova friend. I bet you look stunning as well. Yeah. No, you're not baiting me to read your name. I believe chat plateaus at around 35 viewers to 40. I don't know why, but people seem to be enjoying my rather slow and chill stream. Yes, Nikom, yes, you may. I'm a space themed Nova depending on how light hits my color changes on the edges. Ah, I do have a friend who has the galaxy Nova Beast texture. Quite mesmerizing the patterns are. You wanna show me? You can always send me a message on TikTok or on my Twitter once you're finished. What's the bell for? That would be my follower alert on Twitch. Thank you for the follow. Yes, I do. In Twitch, you get to enjoy a more comfortable aspect ratio and a higher fidelity in the streams. What color harmony did you use on your avatar? Duotone. Simple. Blacks and something vibrant, which is the science. Very easy to remember. Yes, don't want my avatars overdone, where you appear more of a mess than anything. Also, Erkan, thank you for the roses. You see, sometimes when it comes to design, less is more. And that's the principle I'm sticking to. The claws. What about these? Why is it only four? How come you have five fingers on your hands? Hold on, chat. One sec. I hope you'll excuse me for a minute or two as I answer this inquiry of mine. Please, give me a moment, chat. There's someone at the door. Delivery or something, I don't know. Okay, I'm back. Oh my. Michael Myers says eye tracking and everything. It looks like an animated movie. I wish it was at that fidelity. Probably in future headsets. But yeah, thank you for the compliment. I try my best with the limitation my hardware has. Yeah. Oh boy. Hello, Bambi. Probably in your end. Bambi says they love how much my voice suits your character so well. Really? Thanks. I know most people expect this way of speaking to be in characters that are more, let's say, mature looking. The Nova Beast isn't exactly a feral looking race. Thank you, Bentley. I'm not sure, Bones. That was me on Twitch. Celeste95 followed you. Thanks. Oh my. Did you just make that account? Gibus. Gibus. What does it stand for? Well, that's my name first and foremost. Frosty Wolf, I can see them very clearly. Hello, Puro. Welcome to the stream, the Furious Bass. Make yourself comfy. Veltrix son. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Ah, okay, my bad. I have a friend who's rather close who pronounces my name Gebus as Gibus. So, yeah. Welcome to the stream, Gibus. I know Gibus is like one of the faces of the moon, the waxing and waning Gibus. BMW should probably lay your head on the pillow and rest. I'm assuming you have a busy day tomorrow. Hello, sad cat. Axiom, same advice. Go rest. I know you wanna watch anime with me like how we did last time. Excuse me. Don't worry. Can you go live tomorrow? Probably. I don't think I'll be spending as much time in furality as I did today, which is 10 hours straight. Not advised. Fire, yes, I have developed the desert sniffles. If you have been tuning into my streams, for the past 6 days I have been traversing rather arid environments, deserts of all sorts of varieties. Yes, Bambi, what is it? 10 hours, yes. This marks my 12th hour in VR straight, not counting water breaks. Ah, were you there? I did attend the lobby, the ceremony and awards, was it? And then when the village opened up, and then finally I hanged out a little bit at Club Finn. You can always add me up if you want, seeing as you're well, you get a pass because you're a Nova beast, Nova friend. My VR chat name is the same as my TikTok. It's Kepos. Bambi, this is called the Nova Beast. Celestial Nova. I wonder if I ran into you. You know, Celestial Nova 95? Is that it? Hi, King. Oh my. How did I close my Twitch chat? Hello, Foxy. With your new account. That depends, Frosty. If you've done it the same as Nova here, who gave a somewhat brief introduction of themselves, then sure. Listen, I'm always open to making friends. But just like any person, they're wary about accepting friend requests from total strangers, especially if that's the first words they say. You've never met them in your life, you've never talked to them, and the first thing they can say is, "Can I add you as a friend?" Also, Axiom, thank you for the coffee. I appreciate it. But yes, earlier I did meet one of my viewers. His name was Silver Fox, if I was not mistaken. Yeah, I hope you understand, Frosty, and you don't take offense. Hang out a bit more in stream, and perhaps I've met I've met a handful of my viewers. I don't really call them viewers. They eventually turned out to be my friends. Axiom here is an example. Perhaps. I'm in the upper part of that range. But honestly, Nova, I believe age is but a number nowadays. The same way when you say 30 is the new 20. Unlike before, where there were clear differences between the young and the old, now that line gets really blurred. Like, oh, it's only kids who plays video games nowadays. No, you have content creators who are streaming even, who are 70 years old and above. I'm not saying I'm a grandpa or anything, but you know what I mean. Public worlds. Maybe not the black cat. Try the great pug. More level headed people there. Ah, good for them. Controller battery is low. Oh my. How much do I have left? 20%. I will stream until my controllers die. Oh, I was indeed in furality. For 10 hours straight to be precise. Hello to you from Indonesia. Bonjour. Hello. Salute. Also, Erkan, thank you for the coins. Have you been to Furality? Yes, I have. In fact, this stream is me taking a break from it. I was there for more than 10 hours straight. My throat is a little strained from talking to all the people and my friends. Yeah. Also, thank goodness there's this thing called the stool. I can easily just pull out and sit when I need to. Most of the time, though, I was standing. The secret to enduring long standing sessions is move around, shuffle about. Standing still will tire you out the fastest. The black cat is the last place you wanna be. It is true though, Nika. Nika, how will you feel if I tell you my age is actually upwards of 70? Okay. No, I'm not gonna be a sugar daddy. I'll be your glucose guardian. If I'm at that age. Your insulin protector. Yes, Frosty, that was just a hypothetical. I was asking my mods how they would react if they found out if I had a hypothetical age of 70 plus, which obviously I am not. Hmm. Uncle Gib. But mods, if anything, Just just call me Brother Gib. If you really want to have a prefix. Thank you. Thank you, Frosty. Actually, Gail, I am not a fan of beer. Not anymore. Never liked the taste. I think beer is just cheap calories. That's true. Your body is a temple. Make its foundation strong. Its interior is clean. Its outside immaculate. And with all those factors taken care of, you will be worshipped. Oh wow, that sounded so conceited. Let's just assume I heard that from a movie, so right. No, you worship your body. It means you take care of yourself. Health is paramount. I can't stress that enough. Thanks, B. Brother Gibbs sounds like a pastor for me. How about you just call me Big Bro instead? Then my body is probably a temple for the devil, Gale. You're welcome. Not at all. You just need the hardware for it. Step, bro. Yes, D. It depends. Let's see. Heads or tails? 3, 2, 1. That's a heart. That's a skull. Hi, DJ. What defines a good design in persona? With any principle in design, it has to be something easy for the eyes to absorb and easy for the mind to remember. Put too much elements in and it will just end up as a mess. Have a defining theme. Make your character be recognizable even if it's just a silhouette. I'm good, Moon Atlas. Resting. A little tired from furality. Why not? Do it enough times and it becomes second nature. Earlier in Furality, Frosty Wolf, instead of spending time in the town when I'm tired, I just found the ledge going down as my hangout spot instead. Under the sun, the desert wind, the calm and peace, away from the hustle and bustle of town. You update your model. Aside from what I'm wearing, not really. Hmm. Thank you. Thank you, fish. Yes, I can. I'm not sure, Moon Atlas. You tell me. All I can tell you is I'm from the Philippines. Ah, thanks, Michelle. No, 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 you didn't ask wrong. Because I myself don't know exactly what accent I have. Thank you. What is it? Why do you want me to pay special attention to you at this moment? Entranced. Ah, it's a new keyword to learn. Hi, Chikoy. How are you? Thank you, Swedish boy. Ah, is it perhaps the rhythmic flipping of the coin? Not good. Alright, you're doing fantastic. Great. You accept boops and headpats. Probably from people I know or acquaintances I sense are not gonna give me trouble. Gail is busy trying to hammer her car back into shape. And probably explaining to her parents what just happened. I'm talking about my mods. She had a bit of a mishap with her car. Oh, oh my. Where's my blue cube? There. I see. Hmm. Yes, that's true. Asking people is always the polite thing to do, and I applaud you for that. Some are just a little too invasive about your personal space. I get being friendly, but you also have to have some tact. I'm okay, Fauci. I hope you're enjoying your Maggie and Milo over there. Waxing gibbous. Waning gibbous. Hmm. How does the Nova Beast handle the heat? Shade and hydration. And a lot of ventilation. Thank you for dropping by, Fish. I hope you have a good day. Yes, indeed. So apparently I'm part of the faces of the moon now. The time is 4:26 p.m. I probably have 30 minutes remaining before my systems run out of power. Then I can't stream, which I will take my time to rest. I'm okay, Moon Coyote, just unwinding after 11 hours of VR, 10 hours of which was in furality. Well, love, that depends. Because if you have the time, I may just have the dime. How was my furality? Well, it was okay. Thank you, Azure. Tell me, how does one get such talking skills? I have a feeling you can convince anyone about anything. Hmm, I can't say how to get the talking skills that you're mentioning about, but the best way to convince someone is to make them question themselves. You never tug at the arm of someone you want to sway towards your direction. You make them walk towards it. Oh, but I am. Well, rather, I was. For a good 10 hours. Kitty, go rest. Thanks for dropping by. Hello, Carrie. I hope your day has been treating you well. Oh. Well, welcome back home in advance, Chikoy. I hope your travels are swift and safe. Shouldn't it be you giving me the sandwich? Hi there, Dwayne. Why are you talking so mysterious? Asks Adrian. Am I? Another coin. Is the nickname Gibbs. Or just call me Gib. Shooting upwards of 57 viewers. Wow. What's this? Have I been given a pretty purse by Carrie? Hey, thanks for the support, buddy. I appreciate it. Because you're so generous, I'm sure good things are gonna come your way. Karigalu here is one of my viewers who I found out was also a content creator. They make some really fun stuff. Should check their channel out. Mecca would want to join. Oh, I'm streaming though. And I'm about to die. Well, my trackers are at least. Oh, what do I do? I'm sorry, Mecca. I have to politely decline. Not when I have less than 20 minutes remaining. Do I sound like an AI now? That's either a compliment or not. You should probably go charge your phone, bless. Also, Erkan, thank you for the support. I'll see you around, Saturn. Yes, I can. If you notice, my ears are. And they act like proper ears. I look to the left, they try to pick up sound from the left. On the right, up, down. When I frown, they go down. Hmm. What song is playing? It's called Exotic Oasis. Maybe, Olivia. Maybe. I'm invited to the Swedish boy's wedding. I'll probably eat most of your food, mind you. Especially if it's meat. Oh boy. Lamb? Very dangerous. Either Hades. I do believe we need to be acquaintances first. Get to know each other a little bit more, JDM. The Tale of Gib and the Dangers of Lamb. Oh, I said we should probably get to know each other a little bit first. Have a conversation or two before we add each other as friends. It's a little process I want to follow. My nose is so itchy. You see, if I accepted every friend request out there, I would quickly lose track of who is who. I want friend requests to be meaningful things. You're more than welcome to hang out and stream though. Heck, even drop by my Discord server. As long as you're above 18. Well, 18 or above, sorry. Good afternoon to you too, JXP. Hmm, wonder how much power I have left. Not much. Hmm. You're probably entering one of the keywords that isn't allowed on stream. It's there to avoid spam and senseless questions. I've been live for a good 1 hour and 40 minutes. Aside from my desert sniffles, as you can observe, I'm thinking about you, chat. Thank you. The sneezes are. Be- uh, the sneezes are beyond my control. Yes, I did, Silas. Or should I call you Silas? Silas. Got it. Thank you for the 1 coin, Folgen. Ah, I, I'll try my best. Ah. Probably gonna need 9,601 more roses for it to be meaningful if you wanna fill up this bar. Only if you're serious about it, JDM. Many secrets I hold. No, it's just I hold and keep many of the conversations you guys share. Miss Bloomy. A fancy name, yet one step away from spamming chat. Hmm. Hi there, Alex. Chiara. Oh, and there it is. I'm starting to feel the sleepiness. Oh my. Yeah. Thanks. I sure will. I still have around 10 minutes left, so I'll be here until then. Wouldn't want to let down my 60 viewers either. Oh dear. That depends on the person, Oliver. It really depends on the person I'm talking to. I have no idea, Faye. Thank you for the donuts. Ah, if it isn't Christ Kajit, how are you, my friend? You caught me as I was just about to unwind. Doing well, yes. I was in furality for a good 10 hours or so. And I am here in, well, a place of respite as I unwind, cool down, disconnect from the chaos of conversations and groups. Had a terrible last few days. Oh my. What happened, if I may ask? I hope it's nothing serious. Something that can be remedied, or fixed at the very least. Hi there, Kai. Good morning to you, I guess. It should be lunchtime there, I'm guessing. Go enjoy your exercise, Erkan. I too need to catch up. That probably tomorrow. Ah, yes. Sounds like a very, very messy, tangled knot of negativity there, Kajit. Fake friends. Yeah, that's why I don't accept like random friend requests nowadays. I, at the very least, want to have a conversation with the person who wants to connect with me at the very least. It's not because I'm trying to be rude. I just want to get to know you better. Also, I that's why I have pretty much zero tolerance to people that wrong me. You wrong me, that bridge is burned. It just spares you from a lot of anxiety. Really. You just disconnect. Thank you, Maichu. Oh, that's super common. Trust me. Here, in our sphere of content creation, there are a lot of snakes. The ones that smile at you the most are usually the ones with the longest fangs. On Tatooine. Is it because of the architecture, Kai? In the music. Ah, immediately red flag. Immediate red flag. You just say no, no, thank you, and just move away. Sometimes people wanna use that vulnerability in our hearts and just tug on that to make use of us. We humans are emotionally vulnerable, no matter how tough of an exterior you present. Especially if you're innately kind. It's hard to say no. That's the thing. Found umbra, I know. Oh, I did post it on Twitter though, Kai, an image. Also, I think I need to work on the scarf a little bit. It looks too, well, it doesn't look nice. It looks what's the word? Crumpled? Maybe it's the normals. I used the stochastic filtering, was it? I'll play around with Unity later once I've recharged my energy. I was in furality for, like, we were hanging out in the morning, right? I never left, like, until like 2 hours ago. I was there for like 10 hours straight. Are you Norwegian? No, I'm not. I'm from Southeast Asia, guys. The Philippines. Am I okay? Well, aside from being a little tired, I'm pretty much in one piece. Thank you for asking. Also, I appreciate the coins, Joe. Thank you, Sushi. Hi, Macy. What happened? I'm okay. It's ASMR? Really? No. I don't have those funny microphones with two ears on each, on the sides. I just try to stay calm, that's all. No secret, really. Oh my. Seems like I have less than 10 minutes left. You're not the only person who says that, Spinks. But I think Khajiit rolled their R's like much more harder. And they refer to themselves in the third person. Perhaps you should sleep instead of listening to my coin. Okay, Neon, you have to show me that. I'm gonna look at it right after stream. Also, I really like the new drawing you made. If I have one small request, I do have nostrils. I am not Voldemort, who doesn't have a nose. Look closely. And of course, Axiom comes out of the woodwork. I hope you're at peace, Swedish boy. Thank you for staying on stream. I hope the meal you're gonna have is most delicious. Neon, you draw so well, and so fast at the same time. Oh my. Perhaps you can get it fixed. Are you from Paris? No. Oh, Blues or Proto here is saying that his index has issues. So I was thinking that all is probably not lost and still within the range of being repaired. Southeast Asia, the Philippines. Yes, indeed I do. You're more than welcome to join. Perhaps you'll feel better after chatting with a bunch of me and my friends. To find my Discord, you have to go to my Twitch. On my Twitch profile would be the link that you are looking for. My Twitch is the same as my TikTok. I don't have my link here for obvious reasons in order to combat spam and bots. It's a nice, silly little place. At the same time, policed, rather. How should I say this? Enthusiastically. We don't want kids running around with scissors now, do we? Hi there, Proclips. You too, Spinks. So you found my Twitch rather quickly. Welcome to widescreen land. Oh, congratulations, Kai. You were having a fair bit of trouble with that earlier before I had to go. I'm glad you did. Oh, don't worry. I've taken a peek at Crazed Khajiit's profile, which I should follow. I'm a fan of the look. I like how she's breaking from the mold. Also, the energy and enthusiasm, mixed with a pinch of goofiness. You use a Quest Pro? Yes, I do. Don't be. I think you look fantastic. Don't think this wrong, but I like the touch of dorkiness plus confidence in your way of speaking. The fun sort of friend. Also, I see you have a lot of cats. I too have taken in a stray that everybody was shunning away because he was pure black. Superstitious people. Poor kitten. He's been with me now for more than 4 years. Thanks, Clay. Hi there, Mio. And I'm sure you love all 5 of them, Wesker. My warnings are going off. I have less than 5 minutes remaining. Oh, Axiom sent a massage. A massage? A massage that's worth 200 coins. Thank you. Is that so you can bribe me to watch more JoJo with you? 200 coins per episode. No, my Discord is in my Twitch. It's on the right side of my name. You're more than welcome to join, as long as you're 18 and above. Thank you, Jared. If you really want to find my link, go into chat and type !Discord. Not here on TikTok, on Twitch. Hello, Olivia. I'm okay. Getting a bit hungry. Getting a bit sleepy. Yes, I will be checking my Discord after stream. Oh. Boy. Well, I have yet to hear anybody complaining yet, Ryan. Hi there, Joe. Hi there, Aiden. And Fennec. Wow, I have not read JJ Speak in so long. Hello, Ansel. Ooh, thanks for the roses from Inogami. And Devi Sanji. I can't read the name, but thank you. Good night, Bluezor. Rest well. Nix, I'm called the Nova Beast. Thanks. You too, Cheese. I think this scarf is a bit problematic. You know what? Let's use the scarf that I got from Kai. So, I actually have 2 scarves now. One moment. It's... Okay. Yes. From Kai Kios, they took their time to help me with this little project. I wanted an alternative that would fit furality a bit better. But the colors though. I was a little off with fixing it. It's more blue than the teal that I have. Type !Discord. I can also just take it off and enjoy my not so commonly seen neck. Abwa. Hi, Snow. Making me go abwa. My friend is starting to earworm me with the word abwa as well. I mean, it sounds cute. Surprisingly not embarrassing as much to say. Abwa. Hmm? What do you mean? I'll do it for a good satchel of coins, Axiom. Come on. Kajita's meows if you have a coin. I didn't know you were still here, Chris Kajit. Oh, let's not go there, Frosty. That's a secret. Alo. Yeah, surprisingly, I was in furality for a good excuse me, 10 hours. Almost 11, actually. Hi there, Cameron. I admit it felt a little slow at first because the cantina, what was it, the meetup place, I thought was like the grand event, like this is it. And then I realized that it's actually a series of maps that unlocks over time. So I was there, and then I attended the various meetups, ended up watching the awarding ceremony, was it? Or I forgot what it was called. It had a little fun video about that was set in the 50s. I enjoyed that. And then I went into the village. That's the part I enjoyed the most. And then visited Club Finn after. Meows in Kajit. My egg does not meow for no. Oh my god, what is this? What was that line? I don't. No, it's not Maik. It's Inigo. If you guys play Skyrim, there's a mod named. It's a companion. His name is Inigo. Or Inigo. I forgot how to call his name properly. He's a Khajiit. He has so many lines. Yes. I absolutely love companion mods and Sky. It's just I play because of the companions you can bring along. The neck look is growing on me. Really? Maybe I should turn my collar back on so it's not so naked. Oh, meh. No, no, no. Oh, thanks, Nicholas. Oh, sending me coffee and finger hearts. Thanks. Nah. This thing? Oh, and then this is where it needs the coin. Oh, I knew you guys would like the collar. And you gave me reason to never wear it again. Oh, this. My explorer's badge. Yes. I actually should be going soon. Any second now, my trackers are gonna die. And it already has. Welcome. So I see you've shifted over to the place with better field of view. Behold the Tesseract. Thanks, D. I remember why I took it off. Much clue. Oh, you're making me wish the old memes. I honestly miss the era of memes where it was still like the rage memes. I don't think you guys know what it is. It's the Filthy Frank era and earlier. How do you deal with mean people in VR? Oh, there is the perfect tool for that. You block them and they fade out of existence. Really. Nice new suit. I see you removed the scar. Just for now. I was curious along with a few of you in chat to see how it is. One of my mods says it's starting to grow on them. Honestly, I feel a little exposed. Who knows who or what would attack my neck? I will probably make it perhaps 2 or 3 a.m. It's 5 p.m. now, so I'm gonna go. After this, I'm gonna go to Discord while I'm cooking food. Probably hop on the shower, heat up the water first, and then go rest. I always make sure to at least say hello to my community and new friends who've just joined. Ah. Thank you for the hearts. Oh, well, you're still very fresh, Kai. Two of you are telling me to sleep. Okay. Soon. Okay, I did say 5 minutes. The super duper last 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Then I have to go. As much as I want to stay. Yes, Jay and mods, please just help the new members when you can, if I'm unable to attend to them. 3 minutes. It's 2:14 on my timer. of streaming hours in. So that's 217. Yes, Cameron, I will soon. Soon. Dave, thanks. Uh, I appreciate you supporting the stream always. I didn't even notice you gave me 100 coins. I do need the rest. I'll make sure to come back to you guys when I have energy again. Most likely stream tomorrow, unlike today where it was kind of just an afterthought. Thank you for always sticking around despite the low energy of my content. Oh wow, my first tip, $1. Thanks. That will buy me a cup of black coffee. I should appreciate that. I know, I know. Also, what do you think about the new background? I think it's pretty nice here. Lots of dynamic lighting, accurate shadows. Looks high fidelity. Hi, Fig. Hello lang. Oh boy. Last 1 minute. If you, I best I best be saying my goodbyes for now. The campfire. Right. Well, just think of this as my room in a tavern where I'm resting at while I'm at furality. Yes, thank you, Mio. Yes. Oh god, the raid. Gale, see? Why? Let's see who's online. Fine. If I have friends online. Alright, nice. I don't have any online friends. No raid. Okay. Slamming lives. Hey, don't tire that finger of yours. Also, thank you for the cap, Bidney. Bidney? Is that how you read your name? Nicholas Weisenan. What? You guys have such unique names. Yes. I will get my rest. Oh. With that, I bid you all a wonderful, peaceful day, evening, afternoon. Good luck with whatever you have to do, or if you're gonna unwind just like me, may your rest be most peaceful. The new guys in Discord, I'll be there shortly to say hello and whatnot. And yeah, thank you for joining me on the stream. I will catch you guys next time. Okay. So yeah. Wait. Okay, there. Got it. Oh, how do I? All right. Got it. 3, 2. Why is my cat meowing? 2, 1. Abwa. And to my people on Twitch, of course. Where is my Twitch? Ooh, that's a ginormous window. Let's scale that down. Let's see who's here. All right, Meal, everyone who's watching. Thank you for hanging out. I'll catch you in tomorrow's stream. See, I used the word tomorrow. Aye.